So we're going to talk about the Broadway Crawl. So in order to get a job on Broadway, you have to take your resume to all the theaters with shows and address to the hair supervisor. So you got to do a lot of Googling. You got to do some research. And if you know someone that's in the union already, they get a monthly mailer. And the mailer actually has hair supervisors listed on that. But if you don't, you still can find it online. But there's a section that shows you shows in production, and you can use that as your your viewpoint. And when I say put the hair supervisor's name on the envelope, you want to address it just like it came in the mail. But if you don't know their name, hair supervisor works fine, but that personalization also is a good key point. So one thing you want to do is get your large vanilla envelopes, just like the resume isn't folded, and you also can attach your business card to the front or not. But you do want I say cover letter to introduce yourself, and then the resume format. And I have a resume format template on my website to download, because when I worked on a Broadway show, the guy showed me exactly how to format my resume, because he was like, this is going to spark your career, and actually it did. So it's a template that theatrical and industry people look for. It's on my website. You can download it, and it shows you exactly how to format your resume. So you get online and you Google every theater in New York that has a Broadway show, or you Google Broadway shows in New York, however you want to reference it. I advise you to print out a map of the theaters, because what happens with that is that you visually get to put a street and a location, because the range is wide of where the theaters are listed. And of course, you're going to be going to the backstage door. The backstage is where there's going to be a security guy there in the mailboxes. So what he's going to do is take your resume in this big envelope and drop it in the hair supervisor's mailbox, which is where they get their mail when they come in the evening. And whatever it is mail from the postal service, and also mail or gift from you. I used to send thank you cards and little gifts or whatever, and hair supervisors' boxes. It goes right in their box. The theater address could be on 50th Street, and the back door to get to the theater could be on the other block behind it, which is normally what happens. So once you find a theater, the back door is usually going to be on the other side of the next block. Comfortable shoes, get ready. Have everything needs to be where you grab it and give it to the theater. Make sure you have your envelopes organized in your bag based on how they mapped out on the street. Whatever street order you're going in, have your resumes for that theater lined up in your bag that way. It just makes it easy. When you get there, you just pull out this theater is on this street and it's in order. You usually want to go before they start. Sometimes you can go on Mondays. Some theaters are not open on Mondays because they're dark, but you want to go before the actors and the crew starts coming in, which is going to be maybe shows. They usually have to be in 5:30 or 6:30, so you want to go in the mid-afternoon or early afternoon. The security guy is usually there from earlier. You don't want to go to the box office. They're clueless. They don't know what's going on. They can tell you they could just point you around where the backstage door is. You want to knock on the backstage door, tell the security guard to put this in the hairstyle, in the hair supervisor's mailbox. And you want him to actually ask the name of the hair supervisor too, because you want to put the name that you found and also hair supervisor under it. So just in case it's not the right person name, you have hair supervisor under it. So you want to also ask the name and write it down too. And so you also have this information in order. And what's going to happen is, you have to drop this off at every theater. And I was told this by people that were in Broadway. I learned this on Broadway tours. This is called the Broadway Crawl. Everybody's done it. I actually did it on the hottest day in the city in New York, like about 7 years ago. In a cute little white dress that turned into like a cute little tan dress after I turned my resume into all the theaters that had shows. At the last theater, which was Whoopi Goldberg's show, a sister act, the lady was like, have a seat because you look like you're going to faint. I think I was on my last leg of theaters, but I got it done and I got a job on Broadway. But what you want to do is that your template is going to be formatted. It's going to be better than mine because I learned it. I learned the template after I got on Broadway. So after you do your resume, process on Broadway. This is the time, because this is the season now where people are out of work because it's the holidays and they're like taking time off. Summer is also a good time too to get swing work. So what they're going to do is call you in for an interview. They will call you for an interview. They could text you. They want to come in and see if you're fit. Basically, they want to see if you're fit, because it's your skill set is obvious on your resume. And also, when you learn a track, they're going to see what your skill set is. So normally on Broadway, there's 2 or 3. I've never seen 4 hair people in the room. There's 1, 2, 3 track. The hair supervisor is usually the main track, which are the principals. And then there's 2 additional tracks. The 2 additional tracks could be equal or not. It just depends on the level of what they do. They could just be equal as in pay and equal as in what they're doing. So you're going to follow the person around. Like, let's say you get track 2. You're going to be doing track 2. So the person that does track 2 normally, his full-time job, you're going to shadow him for maybe a week, maybe 3 days, whatever they decide. So you're going to follow him around to see what he's doing, and then after you guys decide on how long you shadow him, probably 1 or 2 days, maybe 3, I don't know. Depends on how long in advance you're going to take the place of somebody. And then you shadow you. So you're going to go in and you're going to do the work. You're going to put the wigs on, the cast. You're going to style them, block them, put them up. And he's going to give you little pinpoints about what to do, how to do it better. You're fine. This is your time. This is your mark. Stage left, stage right. You're going to have a sheet. You're going to take notes. I actually have a process how to take notes on track sheets. So, and then that's how you learn the process. It's not a difficult thing. It's easier actually than doing tours. I started out with tours. With tours, you go there the first day, you style the wigs, the show starts at 8, you get your sheet of the show at maybe 6. You have to learn it then, and you do the show at 8. So that process is a lot difficult than Broadway, because Broadway, they train you. Of course, it's a bigger stage, and you will learn how to do the shows. The tours, you learn how to do the show the day of the show. But there is a supervisor there, but the supervisor is working with the principals. They can't always help you out, but that's less stress when you shadow the core stylist, and then they shadow you to show you, what it is that you're doing. One thing I advise against, and as you can't help it, but just be mindful of when a swing trains a swing. So swings are when you swing in and take the place of someone that's working. Swing is when they call you in. That's just the backstage industry term, a swing. Swing, you're just temporary workers or whatever. But what is very discouraging is when a swing trains a swing for a show. I've had that happen. It was disastrous, because as soon as the swing leaves or turns their back, the other person that's there, it could be the hair supervisor, whoever else is there, is going to tell you that certain things that the swing is telling you is wrong. They're just like you, or they were available. They could have been doing it a short amount of time or a long amount of time, but they have a different spin on it. And when that person is watching them do it, they always have different things to say about them. So just be mindful of when swings are training you. Different spin on it. So now with that process, you did the Broadway Crawl. I advise you to do it every season, like summer and winter. But once you get on the beat of being with Broadway, all of them know each other. They're always going to ask people, you know anybody? And you could long term be on the show to where you're going to get all your hours you need to apply for $7.98, or it's going to be easier. You're going to know what show is hiring because of the inside talk, and you send your resume. And Broadway is user friendly. They will let you work without being in a union. That's the only place I know to get union hours. TV will not do it. Commercials are not usually union affiliated, union contracted. Theatrical shows would do it. Now, let's say that Broadway has not hired you because you have not had Broadway experience. This is how you get Broadway experience. You look for jobs off Broadway. Off-Broadway jobs, you sometimes have some of the same great producers, great directors, some of the same great actors off-Broadway shows. you send your resume to them, but you look online and you send your resume to the studio. This could be an easier process. You could do this more digitally than in person because there's so many off-Broadway theaters. So you look for off-Broadway theaters. You're going to get a large list. So you want to go in and dig deep in their website and find out what shows are going on, who are the creative directors, find out some of the creative directors, where you're going to start finding out who runs stuff, and you're going to send them your resume. You can do this digitally, though, because off-Broadway theater listings are a lot more than Broadway theaters, and they're spread all over, and like I advise you to everywhere. Like I worked in an off-Broadway theater in Long Island, which they made me the supervisor. That was like icing on the cake because you have the potential going right to Broadway. I'm going to show you how to format your resume, do your cover letter, and you have that potential. I didn't have any of that backstage potential that you had because just go for Broadway first. Send my resume to Broadway, but it was ill-formed, and I didn't have all that experience that I got after I actually did a off-Broadway as a supervisor. So I was a supervisor. I learned how to run a show. They hired as a hair supervisor for a Broadway show, for a short-run Broadway show, which I had more responsibilities. I had to order. But yeah, so the off-Broadway shows, like I see Cuba Gooding is in Chicago now. Wow. That's funny. And then, do your off-Broadway show research. And you also could do the theaters. So it's not particularly some shows, it's theaters. This is going to be some bookmarking on your computer, saving. This is what you need to do to get in that mode. So when you start that process, you're going to be in that loop of this person is looking for work. And also pages like Backstage. I actually found a job in Long Island on Backstage, but I heard that they're not updating jobs like they used to be. Casting, Find Talent magazines, more. I'm looking at the website now. But you can Google Broadway jobs here, off-Broadway jobs, and you're probably going to get some jobs in Indeed. But it's all going to be the process, and I think you could go right to Broadway. So you want to make a cover letter, short and sweet, just kind of summarizing some of your experience. Well, you know how to do a cover letter, but also what they're looking for is going to be the format of your resume. So, any questions?